All right, everyone, you remember when we were told by Beijing Biden that no Americans would be left behind in Afghanistan? Nope, absolutely not. It's impossible. We'll get everyone out. We're doing the biggest airlift in human history. It's basically the same as World War II strategy. Look at how wonderful our logistics are. Well, it turns out that there are indeed Americans stranded in Afghanistan. This is being brought up actively. Link in the description, archived, of course. There are at least 19 people at the Kabul airport that are not currently being allowed to leave, despite being there for days waiting. They're speculating there are far more of them, some hundreds, possibly thousands. It's kind of hard to tell because keep in mind the situation in Afghanistan. Western reporters have all left. U.S. personnel have all left, all of the military personnel and stuff. The Taliban roams the streets at a will, controlling everything. Is there a significant direct line of communication in and out of Afghanistan right now, especially when the Taliban is still on the war front against multiple militia groups that are standing against them and still trying to lock things down? You get protests, women's protests mainly in Kabul. No, there's no communication. So how are you going to hear? We don't even know exactly who's left behind. We can account for 19 people, and now they're using the term hostage crisis to designate this specific situation. Now, it is premature to declare that this is anything other than a logistical problem. But it could turn into a hostage crisis very easily because, of course, if the Taliban's sitting there and they're like, well, we don't have diplomatic recognition from D.C. We really want money. We love these weapons they gave us. Maybe we'll just hold these people here and have some backdoor chats, and Biden will be very generous with us. I'll tell you why. Because he wants those chats to be backdoor. He wants the negotiations to be behind the scenes, not reported on, fully confidential, through third parties, like in an alleyway, exchanging paper bags full of Benjamins. That's how Biden wants to do it. Why? Because this would be yet another promise that he made us that was completely broken. Now, he clearly has. If it then looks like not only did he break the promise to get everyone out before the Taliban took over the airport, and then he was extorted by the Taliban and had to pay billions of dollars or give logistic aid or equipment or something to the Taliban to get those people freed, that would be a goddamn PR nightmare for him. So right now, you can expect the State Department, probably other groups, CIA, are actively chatting with the Taliban saying, look, please just let him go. Look, you've got a lit match under our feet. Okay. We'll give you what you want. Don't turn this into another Jimmy Carter hostage crisis, because Biden's presidency probably can't weather that. They're probably, in order to salvage Biden's career, to save face diplomatically after the abysmal failure of the entire U.S. government in Afghanistan, the Taliban has the U.S. government over a barrel. Biden, for political reasons, and his general circle of allies, I'm sure that his staff are sweating bullets at the moment thinking about this crisis. Certainly, intel agencies, well, they don't want these private chats to be distributed to the media, I'm sure, even though the legacy media wouldn't report on them. They're very meme-friendly, the Taliban, these days. They might just put it on fucking Twitter. They might fucking send it to WikiLeaks or something, and that'd be another shit show for Biden to deal with. Oops. Yeah, a little bit of a hostage crisis brewing. Not yet. It could be that tomorrow Biden, behind closed doors, talks with Ghani or something and says, okay, look, how about $1 billion to let 19 people go? Just fucking get over it, and you can buy some more tanks or something. Okay, says the Taliban. That says good. They say it's good. That might happen. That would be, better than the alternative. The alternative is that this turns into a fully televised event where these 19 Americans in black bags, basically, are trotted out, and the Taliban jumps around shouting praise Osama bin Laden, ha ha ha, Biden's a loser, and, you can have these people back, but we want $100 million ahead, or something like that. They'd probably get it. And then it would truly, the problem is that having a hostage crisis in the Middle East, in that region, but not Middle East, Central Asia, would comport exactly to what Biden's critics say, which is Jimmy Carter. You've got stagflation, which is you've got slowing jobs growth, lowered wages, and now more inflation. I still have to look up the inflation numbers for August. They seem to be delaying the issuance of these numbers. I wonder why they would do that. Google it right now, and I think they still show you the numbers from 2020, actually, which were nice and low compared to what we have now. High inflation, joblessness creeping up. You have A considerable amount of unemployed people, although it did tick down finally, thankfully. Less than expected. I think it'll be that way for a while. And then you have potentially a hostage crisis in Afghanistan. What more do you need other than Jimmy Carter wasn't demented? He might have been a sad sack at times. He might have been kind of ineffectual in diplomacy, but he wasn't demented. He was a smart dude. Well, Biden's not. Biden's basically just a steward anyway. I mean, he personally only gets held responsible because the buck stops somewhere, happens to be at his desk. But he's not the one calling the shots. He probably doesn't even know where Afghanistan is on a fucking map. He doesn't know anything about Pashtun culture or the history of Kabul or any of these other interesting things. Probably doesn't even know that the fact that the U.S. armed the Mujahideen in the first place under Carter, ironically, and Reagan, in order to fight the Soviets. You think Biden actually retains that sort of information? He can't even wipe his own ass. His butt's been wiped, but not by him, I would say. I guarantee that the State Department's scrambling to find a solution to this, but, you know, these people have been there now for days. They do want to leave, but they're being denied a flight. Probably the Taliban's slightly worried about the fact that, imagine this, imagine the crisis that emerges, Biden pays them $1 billion, they get on a plane and then ISIS bombs it or something. By the way, we got new information about the ISIS drone strike, so-called, that killed 10 kids. Very, very, very funny times when the legacy media puts that on page 2. That's about all. Peace out.